Hello everyone, welcome to I'm Kohicode BMS the 80 2025. My name is Abhilasha and I'll take you through sample questions for verbal ability and reading comprehension. So let's not waste any time. I hope you were able to see the actual sample paper that I'm Kohi Code had released. We had done a video for this previous week, so I hope you've taken a look at it. If you haven't, just go to the channel and make sure you view it. Also, remember to hit like, share, and subscribe so that, of course, we are all connected. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. Here's your paper. So some sample questions. So after getting promoted, Ravi decided to something and enjoy the rewards of his hard work. So if he is enjoying the reward of his hard work, he has decided to rest on his laurels. That will be the correct answer. Raise the bar means to increase the challenge. So that of course is incorrect. Right? Take a look at the next one. Bite the dust is to be defeated. So therefore that is also incorrect. Let his hair down is to celebrate. So of course he's not celebrating, but definitely he's letting his hair down. He's resting on his laurels. That means he is now accepting and using his previous work. So therefore best answer to rest on his laurels. Let's look at the second question. The new CEO is known to something and challenge outdated practices. So if he is challenging outdated practices, he is doing something that nobody else has done, right? So to throw cold water is to stop something. Now that's not happening. He's challenging outdated practices. Doesn't mean he's stopping them. Rock the boat works for me because he's disturbing the equilibrium, right? So if you're disturbing the equilibrium, then that could be the answer for us here. Build castles in the air, of course, is all about daydreaming. So if he's daydreaming, well, that's not happening. Face the music is to get scolded. So that, of course, was irrelevant here. So the best answer here is going to be to rock the boat. The new CEO is known to rock the boat and challenge outdated practices. Guys, in the sample paper, we had a few idioms. So therefore, my suggestion is that you must make, a quick revision of the idioms. You can do, maybe I'll suggest color idioms, animal idioms. Just do a few of the idioms that are used and to be ready with these. We are planning to something the wedding invitation cards next week. Send off, send up, send out, or send through. Of course, if we are planning to distribute them, right? The idea is that you're trying to distribute the cards or to mail them. So therefore, send out the wedding invitation cards, not send through, not send up, and not send off. Send off is a farewell, so that would not work. Send up, of course, it's not a phrasal verb. Send up means to just send someone upstairs. Okay, and send through also is to send someone through a place. So therefore, those are not phrasal usages. So this was phrasal verbs 101. It took her years to recover something, the trauma of losing her parents. You recover from something, right? When you're talking of recovery, you're talking of you recover from something, you're recovering from the trauma of losing her parents, not with, not of, and not for. Please understand. Okay, so another thing, like I said, idioms, the second topic that you must revise is phrasal verbs. Guys, phrasal verbs are nothing but a combination of a verb with a preposition, but they take an idiomatic meaning, right? So the meaning here is now, it's like an idiom. So therefore, the literal meaning is very different from this idiomatic meaning. So you must revise your phrasal verbs also. Some of the phrasal verbs are very common. Get in, get out, take in, take off, take on, and so on. So just go through your phrasal verbs. That's very important. Okay, choose the option where the word conspicuous is used incorrectly. Now, his conspicuous absence at the event raised questions. Conspicuous means visible, right? Conspicuous means something that is visible or apparent. So his absence was conspicuous, so therefore this is used correctly, so I'm cutting it out. She wore a conspicuous outfit to stand out at the party. Conspicuous is visible, so again I'm cutting it out. He was conspicuous by his indifference in the discussion. The conspiracy was conspicuous and well planned. Well, 3 is correct, so I'm cutting it out. The conspiracy was conspicuous and well planned. That does not make sense. Conspiracy, by its very nature, is secret. So it cannot be conspicuous. I hope you understand that. So therefore, 4 is the one that's incorrect, and therefore your correct answer. The conspiracy was secret. It was clandestine. Okay. It was secret, it was clandestine, it was surreptitious, not conspicuous. So, therefore, please, when you read questions like this, be very careful. Okay. Now, choose the option where the word augment is used incorrectly. They augment their income by freelancing on weekends. Augment means to add on, right? So, if I am earning 500 rupees and I start adding another 100 rupees, this is the augmentation. So to add on, they augmented their income by freelancing on weekends is correct, so therefore cannot be my answer. The new software will augment the computer speed, it will add on to the computer speed, so cannot be my answer. Her kindness augmented suspicion among her friends. Now, this is where it is incorrect. How does it, it can foment suspicion, it can increase suspicion, it can garner suspicion, okay, but not augmented. So therefore, this will be your answer. The military augmented its forces, increased its forces. So correct. So therefore, not my answer. So therefore, again, please understand word usage, meanings. So vocabulary is important. In vocabulary, of course, you must do meanings. You must do antonyms, synonyms. Okay. This will be very important. So synonyms, antonyms, those will work. All right. After losing 3 consecutive matches, the team finally accepted defeat. That's what I want to say. Right? That they accepted defeat. So what did they do? They threw in the towel. Okay, throw in the towel means to accept defeat. Turned over a new leaf means to change completely. Now that will be incorrect. Went out on a limb is to take a risk. So that again is incorrect. And to give the benefit of the doubt, of course, is also incorrect. So therefore, best answer will be option number A. All right, let's look at the next one. Despite the criticism, she something and completed the project independently. So she's done it on her own. So she stood her ground, will work. Stood her ground means she stuck to her idea. Okay, she stuck to her idea. Bit her tongue is to stop yourself from saying something. So she stopped herself from saying something. Okay. Spill the bean, of course, we mean, let me write something here also, so I'll complete this. Spill the bean is to reveal someone's secret, so that, of course, will not work. Okay. Went against the grain is to do something unnatural, or that is against your belief. Okay, so if I went against my grain, I have done something against my beliefs. Okay, so therefore, so best answer will be stood her ground. There was criticism, but she stood her ground and completed her project. Okay, the lawyer something that the document had been tampered with and the evidence was therefore something. So if the document had been tampered with, the evidence was therefore invalid. Okay, so therefore invalid is the only one that will fill the second blank. So the first, legitimate, valid, reliable will not. So answer has to be C, claimed and invalid. There is no other answer that can be correct. Due to rising inflation, many families are struggling to something their something. So make their ends, meet their ends. Okay, let's take make their ends meet. Okay, now the idiom is make both ends meet. Now that is not working here. Okay. manage their budgets, okay, this can work, meet their ends, okay, this might be a possible choice, okay, balance their accounts, no. So idiomatically, they're struggling to meet their ends, that means meet their goals. So best answer C. The guests something by the time we reached the venue. So we reached the venue, the guest had already left, so had left will be the correct answer. Okay. Oops. Had left. Now remember, we reached. Okay. This is the simple past. On the other side will be the past perfect. Remember this, when two events happen, one after the other, sometime in the past or sometime in the future, the first takes the simple past, the second takes the past perfect. So therefore here, the first event we have reached, okay, but we realize that the guest had left. So this one is the past perfect and this one is the simple past. Okay, so therefore had left will be the correct answer, A. Now this is a very good question from tenses. This is one of the most popular uses of the tenses that we have. Grammar again is important for our syllabus, and therefore we must go through the basics of grammar and sentence correction, error identification, and such like things. The documentary features children something in rural schools across India. So the children are studying in school. So let me write studying in schools across India. So answer will be B. Okay. Again, this is a question of tenses. Like I said in grammar, what all you must revise, I will quickly take you through that. So number one, revise your parts of speech. Okay, what are the various parts of speech? Which word is which one? Then revise your nouns and pronouns. Okay, revise your subject verb agreement. Revise your tenses. Revise your modifiers. And revise your prepositions. Okay, broadly, if you have revised these topics, I think you will be covered. Here's a grammatically incorrect sentence and you have to identify which one is incorrect. Neither of the boys has submitted his work. Remember, neither is singular and therefore has is okay. She sings better than he does. We are comparing she sings with he does, which is correct. I wish I was taller. In wishes, you always use were. So I wish I were taller. Okay. So therefore, C is the one that is incorrect. So your answer. Each of the answers, again, each is also singular and therefore is correct. Okay. All right. Question number 14. Identify the grammatically incorrect sentence. Okay, what is the incorrect sentence? He insisted that she stay home. Now remember, when we are using the word insist, now we are not in the regular mood, we are in the subjunctive mood. Now the subjunctive mood takes the subjunctive verb to be in the plural, and that is why she stay home and not stays home. So this is correct. The committee have decided to postpone the event. Now remember, for collective nouns, they are generally singular unless they are divided. Now here, because they have decided, they cannot be divided. So the committee has decided. So therefore B is the one that is incorrect. This is the best movie I've ever seen is correct. The teacher asked whether anyone had questions is also correct. So B is the only one that has an error. So that has to be your answer. Very good questions, huh? Okay, here's a question on reasoning. Now, for reasoning, my suggestion is that you do conditionals. This is a question from conditionals. And you should also do syllogisms. These are two topics that you must revise without fail. All engineers are logical thinkers. Ravi is an engineer. So, if all engineers, let's see, if all engineers are logical thinkers, and Ravi is an engineer, then surely Ravi is a logical thinker. So therefore answer should be C. Now this is a question of syllogisms only. So therefore This is a question of conditionals. If it rains, the road gets slippery, the roads are not slippery. Now understand, this is of the form if P, then Q. Okay, so if it rains, the roads get slippery. Okay, so this is the structure. Now we know for PQ there are two pairs. The first one is P happens, Q happens, which means if it rains, then the road is slippery. Okay, the second is Q did not happen, so P did not happen, which means that the road is not slippery, means that the rain did not happen. So it did not rain today will be the correct answer. So the answer will be B here. Okay. All right. I hope you got that. So remember, make sure that you're doing your conditionals and your syllogisms. All right. Let's go to the passage and then we will read it and then we'll try and solve the questions. Okay. So take a minute and read. A little more than a second. You can pause the video here, view it, and take your time to read and then come back. I will meanwhile start my explanation. A little more than a century ago, in July 1918, the wives of fishermen in Toyoma, they began to protest against the export of rice from their prefecture, from their area. The unrest, so sort of a fight, which was triggered means started by the staple grain surging price, then spread across Japan. So it got started everywhere. Ultimately, the so-called rice riots were violently extinguished, stopped, okay, by 100,000 troops, an action that would in time bring down the government. Japan is not often considered to be a nation of unrest. They don't rebel, right? They don't fight. But it takes rice seriously. So they're very serious about their rice. Excuse me. Ito Tak, who the country's agriculture minister, discovered as much in May when he was forced to resign after a ham-fisted joke. So after a very silly joke. Mr. Ito said that he did not have to worry about the price of rice because his supporters made sure to buy it for him. That was quite a statement given prices have now risen by more than 100% since the beginning of 2024. He resigned in the uproar that followed. So there was a huge commotion about it. Okay, hue and cry. Some residents grumble that tourists who are arriving in Japan in record numbers are snaffling the fluffy carbohydrates. So they're stealing it away. In reality, the country's state-directed agriculture industry, a clubbish relationship between farmers and ministers, and protectionist measures against overseas growers have created the mighty squeeze. So it is making it very tough. Okay. Japan grows 99% of the rice it consumes, approaching autarky. So it is almost independent. It is able to manage by itself, right? Production is therefore highly vulnerable to shocks. So it is, if shocks happen, it is scary. A poor harvest is still hurting the market in 2023. The government has all but emptied its vast reserves in an attempt to bring prices back to earth. The Japanese language reflects its development. Komai, old rice, describes last year's harvest. So much rice has been released that the term kokomai, old rice, and kokokomai, old rice, has soared in popularity, have soared, have increased. They used to describe 2-year and 3-year-old vintages. Vintage means of old times, now being sold in stores. With a median age of almost 50, Japan is the world's oldest big country. Citizens are probably too long in the tooth. Too long in the tooth means old, to repeat the riots of a century ago. But that is not to say that the government will escape unscathed. It is not going to, escape unaffected. Elections for the upper house of parliament are scheduled for July. Ishiba Shigeru's government must hope that it does not have to dust off the kokomai to prevent defeat. They need to make sure that they are sorted. What is the central theme of the passage? Very interesting. This passage is talking about rice, right, in Japan. Okay. But is it talking of rice exports? No. So I'm eliminating this. Is it tourist consumption as a cause of food shortage? No. Is it a surge in rice prices and its political fallout? Yes. Aging demographics and electoral concerns? No. So the best answer here is going to be a surge in rice prices and its political fallout, specifically in Japan. So B. What is the tone of the author? Lightly or ironic with a satirical edge, alarmist and emotionally charged? He's not emotionally charged. He's also not alarmist. distant and excessively academic, but he is not distant. He is talking about things. It's not an academic article. Laudatory is praisefully and idealistically warm. Again, he is not full of praise. So lightly ironic with a satirical edge. He's saying, "Oh, here are people who will never fight for anything, but for rice they will." So good choice. Which idiom most aptly conveys the government's response to stabilize rice prices? Now they are doing everything that they can, right? So bury the hatchet and move on, no. Scrape the barrel for options, no. Pull out all the stops to act, but they've not done it yet, right? So that's something that we need to put a star on. Beat about the bush aimlessly, but they're not doing anything aimlessly, so no. So then the best option will be C. And they're doing whatever they can. It may not be, absolutely the best, but they are pulling out all the stops. So therefore C. Question number 4. Why was Agricultural Minister Ito Taku compelled to resign? Because he made a joke of the rice issue, right? He did not mishandle rice import. He made light of yes, he made a joke. So, right. For advocating liberal rice exports, he has not done that. For failing to focus, but that's also not something he's done. So, B is the best answer. Let's look at this question. What is the primary cause of the ongoing rice price crisis? The problem is that the harvest was bad. Remember 2023, the harvest is bad. They have limited rice. They're all old. 90% of them are rice eaters. So that's the problem. So excessive consumption by tourists, not really. That's not the primary cause. Reduced imports, they don't import. They have 99% there only do. Poor harvest and limited reserves, yes. Rising global demand for Japanese, no, that is not mentioned. So the best answer here is going to be option number C. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of this session. Answers are given here. You can pause the video and view it if you want to. All right, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.